Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the KMN 1971, back with my monthly comic book haul. I usually do my hauls on a Sunday, but unfortunately, over the weekend, I ended up injuring myself with a pretty good calf strain, and I was too busy having fun in the emergency room to drop a video. So I've been put on the shelf for the next like 3 to 4 days. So I definitely have time to drop a video now. So I have about around 60 books to show. So let's jump right on in. Kicking it off, a book that came out in June, actually, Superman Year One by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Initially, I wanted to skip this altogether because I don't really need to read another Superman origin story, but I guess I was just kidding myself because you put Frank Miller on a Superman origin story and you name it Year One, I have to check it out based just on curiosity. And it was pretty good. Will I continue on with it? I'm not really sure because if I buy issue 2, that almost guarantees I have to buy issue 3. So I don't know. Depends on what comes out that week. Batman Last Night on Earth, number 2. Anytime that you have Snyder and Capullo on a Batman story, I'm there. No questions asked. The Batman Who Laughs, number 7. As I've said in other videos, this was probably like a B story. I'd give it a B. Entertaining, but it just didn't knock it out of the park like Metal or Court of Owls. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I will not be continuing on with the Batman Who Laughs storyline. That will be kicking off in the upcoming Batman Superman new ongoing title. Batman number 74. And number 75, really enjoying this title again, and I really feel that it's firing on all cylinders. Another solid read. Superman number 13, sporting this kick-ass Adam Hughes Lois Lane cover. Beautiful. Speaking of solid titles, The Green Lantern, number 9, and annual number 1. I guess Grant Morrison has big plans for this franchise. In an interview, he stated that the series will be ending with issue 13, but his story will be continuing. I don't know what that means or what it entails, but I know I'll be there. NAOMI, number 6. I know I've been calling her Naomi, but I saw an interview with Brian Bendis with Seth Meyers, and he pronounces it Naomi. So Naomi it is. On the plus side, it's great that an original character with no DC legacy strings attached and has been put out there in a format of a 6-issue origin story, which doesn't really happen all too often anymore. So I thought that was cool. It featured some outstanding artwork, but unfortunately, story-wise, it didn't give me enough of what I was looking for. So I'm sure all those elements of what her connection is to the multiverse will be played out in upcoming volumes and upcoming appearances in various DC titles, but while I do like the character, I probably won't be picking up the next volume of Naomi. Justice League number 27, sporting this awesome Adams Gorilla Grodd cover, and considering it's Adams that did it, every time I look at this, it just looks like an angry version of Monkey Man from Monkey Man and O'Brien fame. Justice League number 28. And that'll do it for my DC titles for July. My one indie title was Spawn number 299, featuring this awesome homage of ASM 299. I haven't actually read any of these Spawn issues I've picked up the last couple of months. I think I'm just going to wait until issue 300 comes out and then binge read the stuff. Uncanny X-Men number 21. And number 22. And I'd have to say that's probably my favorite Carnage Eyes cover that came out last month. Uncanny X-Men, while this has been the most entertaining that the franchise has been in my opinion anyway, in like a decade, unfortunately it's not saying much because we haven't had anything to talk about over the past 10 years with Uncanny X-Men, or the X-Men franchise in general, unfortunately. But at least it got enough positive mojo going, and, kind of stirred the collective consciousness for the X-Men franchise, I think. So, in that regard, I guess it was pretty cool. But then there's this. House of X, or House of 10. This is what I think a lot of X fans like myself have been waiting for. A-list writer, a fresh new take, and A-list art to back it up. As longtime X-Men fans, that's what we've become accustomed to when we pick up an X-Men comic. That's what we were given for decades until Marvel tried to push the Inhumans down our throats. So, love this. I couldn't give it a higher recommendation. This is at the top of my reading pile moving forward. So House of X #1 and Powers of X #1 or 10, whichever you prefer. And I really like these generational covers of the characters of their different iterations throughout the ages. I think that's really cool too. Immortal Hulk #20, and I accidentally ended up getting one of those Carnage Eyes Bloody variants. So nice. Immortal Hulk #21, always a solid read. Venom #16, and my second Venom annual with a #1 on it this year for this year. Talk about a cash grab. I'm really hoping the Carnage event next month lives up to the hype because I don't know, this Venom title really hasn't been doing it for me since the initial Kick-Ass Null story arc that started off this volume. So we'll see. Star Wars #68 and #69. It'll be interesting to see Phil Noto's art on the Star Wars title. Conan the Barbarian #8. I hope Jason Aaron stays on this title for the foreseeable future. Guardians of the Galaxy #7, another Carnage Eyes cover that I kind of dig, and this is my favorite Donny Cates title. I'm always surprised that it doesn't sell better. Fantastic Four #12, featuring one of my favorite rivalries in comics, Hulk versus the Thing. Here, take my money. It was only okay, though. I feel kind of like a hypocrite. I picked up another copy of New Agents of Atlas #1 and a second print of #2. And I think it's official now. The new characters are the new gimmick in comics. They're the new foil cover. They're the new incentive variant. And the comic book industry has caught on to that. Think about all the new characters that have come out in this past year. Hell, in the past month. Creators creating new characters isn't a new thing, but it's being marketed that way now. Everyone is speculating that this character might show up in a cartoon or on TV or in the movies or whatever, and they've caught on to it. Greg Pak just posted this week that he'll be debuting a brand new, super cool character in issue 3 of Agents of Atlas, the ongoing. I think, yeah. So, it's okay to speculate on characters, but I don't know. If everyone's doing it now, I don't think you should speculate on every character. But as long as you enjoy what you're buying, I guess it's okay. I know I had an initial point that I wanted to make about this, but I kind of lost it. All right, how about into the back issues? Less ramble, more comics. So, Spider-Man Reign, #1, first appearance of the Spider Penis, and I actually wanted to read this, and I don't know, it just seems like someone wanting to do Dark Knight Returns for Spider-Man, and as a character, thematically, I don't think that really fits Spider-Man. Don't get me wrong, Kraven's Last Hunt, which is pretty dark, is one of my favorite Spider-Man stories, but this one just didn't jive with me. Hellboy, Almost Colossus, #1, #2. The Golden Age, #1. I already have #2, and here's #4, so I just need #3 now. And this is the book that for one, it's rated one of DC's best stories ever, and I haven't read it. So there's that. It's the book that put James Robinson on the map, and it's also the book that put the JSA on the map for a modern comic book audience. So after I get issue #3, I'm definitely looking forward to cracking those bad boys open. A couple of DC Millennium editions. Flash #123, and the Millennium edition of Detective Comics #359. These books are weird, man. You can sometimes grab them for $1, and other times they'll cost you between that $10, $15, $20 range. I paid like $3 or $4. I ended up checking out the first episode of the Doom Patrol show that aired for free on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and I liked it. Do I like it enough to subscribe to the DC streaming app? No, not at all. But it was a show that showed a lot of promise. So number 26 is the first appearance of Mr. Nobody. Number 35, this is the first cameo appearance of Flex Mentallo, and his first full appearance in number 36. So those are all like $3 a piece, so why the heck not? A couple of ASM upgrades. Here's ASM number 303 and 304, and I just could not leave those there. I already have like kind of like beta copies that I've had for decades, but these are like VF plus near mint minus condition, and for under $5, how could I leave that McFarlane goodness behind? Always a sucker for the JLA JSA crossovers, so and it doesn't hurt when you have them with these kick-ass George Perez covers. So Justice League of America number 207, 208, and 209. Cool stuff. Some more cheap Atlas books. These are all like $3. Grim Ghost number 1. Iron Jaw number 1 with a Neil Adams cover. And when you have a character with as much potential as Iron Jaw, do you limit him to just one title? Hells to the no, you don't. You feature him in. You have Barbarians featuring Iron Jaw. You better watch your back, Conan. The Incredible Hulk, number 228, which features the first appearance of Moonstone, but it doesn't feature the first appearance of the character who eventually becomes Moonstone. That's in, I think, Captain America 188. So, just another one of those little minor books that's on my list. The Incredible Hulk, number 258. Now, originally when I picked this up, like, early last month, there was some speculation about a character that appears in here that might appear in the upcoming Black Widow movie, but I don't think that is any longer the case, but still cool to have. Swamp Thing, number 15. These are leftover Swamp Thing books from when I finished off the run. Issue number 5 was actually part of a lot that came along with 4 other Swamp Thing issues. So these are those leftovers. Number 15. Number 11, which don't feature Bernie Wrightson artwork, but I forget who the artist was, but the art was really good. And I ended up getting my second copy of issue number 10. So, beyond classic stuff right there. Picked this up for, I think, like $5. Conan the Barbarian, number 44, which features some interior artwork from Neil Adams. So now I have all of the Neil Adams issues that were part of the original Conan the Barbarian Volume 1 series. So he did... actually, hold on. I also picked up my second copy, which is also an upgrade, of Conan the Barbarian number 37. Now, as I started to say, I now have all of Neil Adams' work on the original Conan the Barbarian volume. He initially did partial artwork for issue number 44, and he did complete cover and interior artwork for issue number 37. And he also did a couple of covers in the 40s. So really cool stuff to have. And if you're a Conan fan or if you're a Neil Adams fan, really happy with that. Always check out for the Marvel value stamp when it comes to this issue. All right, into some of the minor keys that I spent more than that $3 to $5 price range for. Amazing Spider-Man by Stan Lee. This is the Fireside edition, and it features the drug storyline with Harry Osborn that I've actually never got to read before. Love these Fireside editions. I'd love to get my hands. I'd love to stealth buy some like a hardcover of one of these one day. Great stuff. Justice League number 3. Now, I own this entire run. I love the Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire, Adam Hughes run on Justice League. It's one of my definite, like maybe, if not top 10, definitely top 20 runs of all time. But I never owned this cover. I've only seen it out in the wild twice. So very happy to pick this up. I think it was only like $10. But this cover just pops, man. Very cool. DC Special number 29, featuring the untold origin of the Justice Society. I initially read this story way back in the day when I was a preteen, in the old school DC Blue Ribbon Digest versions. And I was really big into the All-Star Squadron at the time, and it was my first real discovery of like the Golden Age heroes. I thought they were so cool, man. So I ended up picking this up, and I had no idea this featured that story. So it was a very nice unintended nostalgia buzz when I opened this book up. Very cool, and it sports this kick-ass Neil Adams cover. The JSA, kicking fascist ass. Never gets old. Picked up my second copy of Sandman number 8. House clear, not that bad. So very happy to pick this up. Near mint condition, or at least a VF plus. Only $20. When I asked the shop, now this is now if you go back to my videos last year, I ended up getting a stash of Sandman books at this comic book shop, and he sold me a couple of copies of number 1 for $10 a piece, and he sold me one copy of this issue also for like $20. So I didn't think this would still be in his shop. I went there, still in the same spot, and I asked him how much. He's like, well, I was going to go 30, but for you, 20. Sold. So, as we know now, because Sandman going to Netflix, Sandman speculation is almost at a fever pitch. So, definitely happy to have 3 copies of the first appearance of Death by Neil Gaiman. Classic. It's like I have classic Tourette's sometimes. And for my pick of the haul, Brave and Bold, number 60, the first appearance of Donna Troy, and some consider this to be the first appearance of the Teen Titans in general. I'm kind of one of those people. I do own Brave and Bold number 54, which is the first appearance of the new Teen Titans, at least if you look up a CGC slab. That's always been credited as the first appearance of the Teen Titans. So I'm not claiming that this is. It's just my personal opinion. That's all. I don't really consider the Titans until Donna Troy joined in their second appearance. And as someone that's actually read Brave and Bold number 54, they're actually never called the Titans throughout that whole story. I think in the very last panel, there's a caption saying that a new super team was born. But it was just a team up of Robin, Aqualad, and Kid Flash. But it doesn't matter what I think or what my opinion is. Those are the rules. So, and I would highly recommend getting a copy of Brave and Bold number 54. So as a Titans fan, man, I am so happy. I am complete. I have the first 4 appearances of the Teen Titans in the Silver Age, and I own the entire George Perez, Marv Wolfman run of the Teen Titans in the 1980s with all those first appearances. So I'm very happy with this. I just checked out the Titans Season 1 on Blu-ray, and I have to say, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it a lot. Unfortunately, though, let me just say right now, rest in peace, the DC streaming app, because I just can't see how it can survive or compete with Netflix and the upcoming HBO Max app, and of course, the Netflix and Disney. How can it? If you are a hardcore DC fan, if you're if you're hardcore into the CW stuff, you can get that from Netflix. If you wanted to watch Sandman, that will be on Netflix. Watchmen, HBO. Any of the DC cinematic movies of the past, 5-7 years, HBO. So why would you just get that app just for a Titan show and a couple of other shows here and there? So I hope that it survives, but I don't think it will. And I'm just hoping that the Titans can move over to Netflix like they're broadcast everywhere else in the world, except in the United States. Was it a perfect season? Definitely not. Was there cheese? Hell yeah. But definitely a show that I look forward to season 2. So that's all I have for this month. I will be back next month. And thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing as always. And yeah, see you later. Take it easy. See ya.